Welcome back. It is the Flow Friday Sports Show, and for the first time in the new year, we're catching up with Bruce Phillips, one of our frequent contributors across all our sports programs here on the Flow airwaves. And he joins me to talk about the latest Sprintcar action. Great to be back with you, Bruce. How was your time off?
Yeah, great, mate. Good afternoon, and great to be here. And look, it certainly is that time of the year, the best time in the year. It really is January, and it is all the sprint car action, the best shows, and none more so than, of course, this Friday, Saturday, and the grand finale of the Grand Annual Sprint Car Classic happening down here at Warrnambool. But before we get into that, let's have a look at recap the shows from last week. And at Avalon Raceway last week, it was the Victorian Sprint Car International down there at Lara, right near Geelong, and it was Carson Macedo in the USA 99, one of the American drivers over here for the Classic, and a good lead up to that with a great victory from Marcus Dumpsey in the N47, and Cam Waters, of course, you'd be familiar with Cam Waters, the V8 supercar driver, and he got in the top three there on the podium. Tate Frost from Tassie in fourth, and Jai Corbett from Northern Queensland in fifth place. So, Carson Macedo, he's just been really in great form, and in fact has 3 wins from his last 3 starts. So really a favourite heading into the Grand Annual Sprint Car Classic. Let's take a look at Simpson last week, and it was the 2024 All-Star Challenge down there. 15k to win, a really good prize money, and it was, as I said before, with Carson Macedo, he's just in sensational form at the moment, and he got the win there in this one down at Simpson from Rusty Hickman and Brock Hallett, the boy from Portland in the Q5 contracted car out of Queensland with the GW Racing team, and he got on the podium. A much improved driver out of Victoria in the V60, Jordan Charge, and he's one of my dark horses for the Classic. A young kid really starting to come along, and I fancy him to be right up there in the feature of the Classic. Lockie McHugh was in 5th place. Moving along to the Perth Motorplex last Saturday night, Ellis, it was the big finale over there of the Speed Week, and it was a big night, and it was Brad Sweet who in his 5th show, he run 5 shows over here in Australia in the USA 49, and Brad Sweet has headed back to America, and he got the chocolates in this, the grand finale at the Perth Motorplex, from one of the favourites over there, Callum Williamson, who's had a tremendous season in the W3 and is currently now heading across the Nullarbor to the home of Warrnambool for the Grand Annual Sprint Car Classic. Brock Deerfoss, another USA driver, was in 3rd, and James Inglis in 4th, and Jason Pride. Great effort there by Pridey, coming in 5th place in the W14. And our last event of the last week, and that was, of course, the rerun show of the 360 All-Stars. Mandy's race there, Mandy Searle, and it was at the Speedway. And as we said, Carson Macedo, 3 wins from his last 3 starts, and he got the chocolates in this one in the 360 class. So that's not as we normally talk the 410. 360 is the smaller motor, and he got the win in the USA 99 or N99 of the Dyson Motorsport team. Jamie Veal in 2nd, and Jamie Veal just he's drives an excavator by trade and did a lot of work for the Warrnambool track, so he possibly got the GPS out there and knew all the ruts were, but good 2nd place there by the real deal Jamie Veal and Rusty Hickman in the V40, who big news in the last couple of days due to the injury to Caleb Henry. Rusty Hickman will be driving the American's car in the Classic, so great news there for young Rusty. Chase Randall in 4th, and Scotty Endell Now, he's a guy out of Mount Gambier who's driving the S11, a much improved driver. And unfortunately, Scotty lost his father only in the last 12 months. And he really has, taken the bull by the horns, so to speak, and got a couple of good mentors on his team, and really has come of age. Scotty and Dylan really is. He's almost a dark horse to be up there in that feature race for the Classic. So really travelling very nicely. So that wraps up all of last week's events, and now we turn to the Grand Annual Sprintcar Classic, mate.
Let's take a look at that. We'll also discuss the potential President's Cup that may happen. We'll talk a little bit about that later on. But firstly, over to the Classics. Bruce, how's that shaping up?
Well, we won't go through all the drivers. Obviously, we'd be here all day. But look, let's have a look. We've got a final 24 that we've picked that we think can make the grand finale. And we'll even get right down to a top 10 and a top 3. So you heard it here first. Look, state by state, I see two competitors from the Western Australia, Callum Williamson and James Inglis, being a part of the grand finale on Sunday night. Ben Morris, Daniel Pesca, Matt Eagle and Luke Dillon, I see as South Australia's big chances. Look, I haven't thrown Ryan Jones in there. He's a guy at the moment that's just not buying a lottery ticket. He just had no luck and binned a couple of cars. And look, if he can come out with a new car and get the setup right, he's a dark horse, Ryan Jones, but I just can't get him in that top 4 out of South Australia. Out of Tasmania, of course, the current Australian champion, Jock Goodyear and Tate Frost, I see as their two best chances. From Queensland, Lockie McHugh, Jai Corbett, Luke Oldfield and Ryan Newton, I see amongst the Queensland contingent to make the grand finale. The Americans, well, there's 9 racing, which is fantastic. There was 10, but as we said earlier, Caleb Henry sadly got injured on the weekend and hasn't come up to race. So Rusty Hickman will be driving his car. So fortunate there for Rusty Hickman. But of the Americans that I see a chance, Corey Eliason in the W17 contract car out of Western Australia. You've got Rico Abreu, who has been winning features over in Western Australia. So he's coming with some good form. Sheldon Hordenstall, he's certainly a chance as well in the USA 25. Aaron Reitzel in the USA 56 and Carson Macedo, as we've spoken about before. We can't leave him off the 5 Americans we've picked to make the grand finale. From Victoria, just a contingent of 7 drivers out of about 33, 34 cars nominated. And on that list, we've got Brock Hallett out of Portland. Last year's winner trying to defend the crown. So he's got to be up there. Cam Waters, we said, the V8 supercar driver, driving the V6. So, look, Cam Waters, he's a chance. Jamie Veal just knows the Warrnambool track inside out. And so he ought to. He's just pulled all the concrete out to widen the track down there to make for some good racing. Been a lot of controversy over the track at Warrnambool with the state of it and the track down there. They've done a lot of work, the groundsman, and made it come up for the Classic by widening it out a little bit to help with passing. Grant Anderson, Jordan Charge, as I said, much improved. Corey McCullough, for me, he's a previous Classic winner, as is James McFadden, and you'd have to have them in the list. And finally, out of New South Wales, Kerry Madsen driving the contract W2 Cricky Boys car, and Marcus Dumsney in the N47. Certainly a chance, of course, a former Australia 1. You'd have to have him on the list. So there's the 24 we've got there. Now let's narrow that down. It's a pretty tough ask. Our top 10 in no specific order. This is from 4 to 10. James McFadden, Brock Hallett, Rico Abreu, Lockie McHugh, Callum Williamson, Luke Dillon, and Kerry Madsen makes up our drivers 4 to 10. And our top 3, now this has taken a lot of work, this has Ellis, and look, we probably could be right off the money, but see, you can't go past winning this event. Carson Macedo out of course, America, and he's won his last 3 races. Absolute gun. and he is really, really fast at the moment. And we've tipped Carson Macedo to walk away with, or fly away it will be, because he'll be heading back to America with the 40K up for grabs. So big prize money. Jock Goodyear, the Australia one. How could you not have him in it? So we've got Jock Goodyear picked in second spot. And this will be a surprise to some. We've got Jamie Veal in third place to get on the podium. He's been very successful lately. Perhaps not getting the chocolates in the first place, but he's got a lot of podiums recently, Veal, and he's in good form, and he takes that form into this classic. And I really think that Jamie Veal can get the job done and be on that podium. Look, could even be around the other way, Macedo, Veal, Goodyear, but I think it'll be Macedo that'll get the job done in this 2024 classic. Look, a few house rules down here. Of course, no camping. Strictly put a curfew on that. So that'll be interesting to see how that pans out. The track, hopefully it can hold up for the 3 nights. They're expecting sell-out crowds of, up around about 8 to 10,000 each night. So it's a really big event, Australia's biggest race, 3 nights of racing, and of course 106 drivers on the list, and they divide them up, 53 in each night on Friday night, and a further 53 race on Saturday night, and then they go through C mains and B mains. There'll be 2 C mains, 2 B mains, and they all break it up into a final A main where they race for $40,000 on Sunday night in what should be an absolute beauty, Ellis.
All right, Bruce, time is getting the better of us, so before I let you go, just tell us about the President's Cup and whether it might go ahead. Will the washout win again, or do you feel as though we might get some action?
Yeah, they're going to make that decision, I guess, the next day or two. At the moment, they feel there is a chance to run it next Wednesday, so let's keep our fingers crossed that they do get that meeting in. We'll see what happens there, but the big meeting, of course, next week is the Australian title down here at Warrnambool. That's Friday and Saturday night. Currently 83 cars nominated. Of course, it's an Australian title, so there can't be an American racing in it. So it shortens the field a little bit from the 6. And right at the moment, you'd have to say Jock Goodyear is in sensational form, and he'll be certainly pushed by like the Jamie Veal and James McFadden for that title. So that'll be in next week's preview, mate.
And just a note to our listeners, of course, that for any other coverage and action that you want to be across, then head to the local Sprintcar Photography and Media Facebook page. Bruce Phillips, great to catch up with you again for the first time this year. Enjoy all the action. We'll speak to you again next week.
Will do, mate. We'll see you next week.